And thanks to our friends on the 5, and this is a Fox News Alert. Welcome to Hannity, and we are broadcasting tonight from Sin City, Washington, D.C. President Trump has just finished his rally in Iowa. We'll have highlights and reaction throughout this hour, but first, Democrats, they are in total disarray after last night's major win, again, for President Trump, and, of course, Republicans in the Georgia 6th District. Now, the left has absolutely no idea. They're completely out of touch with you, the American people, as we have been telling you. Plus, we will also expose tonight the biggest conspiracy theorist in the Destroy Trump media. And by the way, all that and more in tonight's very important opening monologue. All right, so the special election last night in the Georgia 6th District was supposed to be a big, huge, monumental moment for Democrats in their effort to resist President Donald Trump. And guess what? Just like with all the other special election races, it turns out to be a major win for the president and a massive, huge disappointment and failure for the Democrats. The Republican candidate, Karen Handel, she ended up beating 30-year-old Democrat Jon Ossoff, the new rock star of the left, who couldn't even vote in the race. Why? He doesn't live in the district. And what's even more embarrassing for Democrats, they spent over $30 million trying to help Ossoff win. It became the most expensive congressional House race in history, and they still came up way short. Now, liberals actually, they would have been better, served if they dug a big, giant hole and threw all their money in it, or maybe give it to poor people and set it on fire. Anyway, it was a total waste of time and, of course, money from a lot of Hollywood people. And here's why. Democrats, right now, they have zip. They have nothing to offer to you, the American people. They're out of touch with you. And by the way, their ideas are old. They're tired. Every single thing they have tried has failed because, of course, they always believe more government is always the solution for all of our problems. Remember, President Reagan once said, government is the problem. For example, let's take a look at Obamacare. That train wreck is, of course, imploding right before your eyes. Remember, you keep your doctor, you keep your plan, and you save on average per family in America $2,500 per year. Well, the average increase was over $6,000 and $8,000 for American families. And earlier tonight, the president in Iowa slammed the Destroy Trump media and the losing Democrats. Watch this.
We will never be intimidated by the dishonest media corporations who will say anything and do anything to get people to watch their screens or to get people to buy their failing papers. They thought they were going to win last night in Atlanta. They thought they were going to win. And they've been unbelievably nasty, really nasty. And they thought they spent close to $30 million on this kid who forgot to live in the community that he was in. I mean, So they raised a fortune for him. They fought like hell. They said they were going to win. All of the television networks, other than Fox, which really has treated us fairly, by the way. They built these studios. CNN. Whoop. Hey, the camera just went off. I can't imagine. It's covered live. The camera just went off. I can't imagine why. This phony NBC television network. They actually had one of the people say, it was a little rainy last night. Maybe that was the difference in Karen's race. If she had lost, they would have been there for weeks talking about this. This would have been the greatest defeat in the history of American politics. When she won, when they said, projected winner is Karen Handel. Then they said, we switch to another program, right? So it was so short. They couldn't get out of there fast enough.
I'm kind of glad I don't work at CNN, the Clinton News Network, or NBC, the Conspiracy News Network. The president has a good point. Now, also tonight, we continue to expose the biggest black helicopter, tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist in the Destroy Trump media, NBC's Rachel Maddow. This is off the hook, out of control. And if it wasn't so serious, it's actually funny. Now, last night, remember, they were expecting a big victory. Results rolling in from the race in Georgia. President Trump mentioned this at the rally. Rachel Maddow, instead of focusing on their big loss, puts on her tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist wires. And by the way, if bad weather was to blame for bad Democratic voter turnout and their loss. You can't make this stuff up. Take a look.
If there was a turnout effect from the bad weather today in the district, does that have any partisan implications that you could foresee in terms of what was expected for same-day, election day voting in here rather than the early vote?
See, the weather kept only Democrats home. And, of course, a night cannot go by without Maddow floating some sort of Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy theory, even though nobody says it, nobody believes it. It's been debunked to date. There is zero evidence of Trump-Russia collusion, nothing whatsoever. It's been a farce, a total fabrication, 11 months of lies and conspiracies made up by people just like Maddow. Now, despite these facts to date, Rachel, she was at it again, whipping up a new crackpot theory involving President Trump, the mob money and money laundering, and even Vladimir Putin made it into the mix. Now, you cannot make this stuff up. Well, I guess apparently she can. It's NBC News. Take a look.
If this new reporting from Tim O'Brien proves out about Russian money pouring into Trump properties and it coming from sources close to Putin through people known for their mob and money laundering ties, if that reporting proves out, we're left with the question of why that happened. Why was money connected to Putin pouring into Trump projects? Why did they do that?
Keywords, if this proves out, but then she goes to, why would they do that? If you've been watching this show, you know that example is nothing compared to the other unhinged, completely insane things that NBC and Maddow are saying night after night, day after day. Here are just a couple of her craziest Trump-Russia conspiracy theories. You're going to love this. Take a look.
Just last week, Reuters reported on 18 new, previously undisclosed contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian government officials. U.S. investigators, including the FBI, are looking into a Russian citizen in conjunction with one of the incidents on the Trump campaign last year.
Maybe he's not as charitable as he says, or maybe he's not really under audit. Like, all of those little things might be true. Okay, that'd be interesting to know. I don't know that that would change the world that much. But what would change the world is if, you know, Russia was interfering in the election, and they weren't doing it on their own, and he was in on it. You know,
the FBI director being fired by the president to try to change or stop an FBI investigation into the president's campaign and his top staffers. That is a big freaking deal.
Big freaking deal, no. By the way, you may remember back in 2011, Maddow tried to explain away then Congressman Anthony Weiner's very graphic, very lewd tweet. Another conspiracy theory. Take a look.
If the congressman was hacked, as he said he was, if he was pranked, how would that work? How could a person do that? What would that look like? The Daily Kos writer looks at the image of the congressman's Twitter account more closely, and judging from the pixelization of the images and some other visual clues, he concludes that the damage was a composite, saved a number of times, indicating it had been photoshopped. For a theory with fewer steps, a number of other blogs have different versions of a theory of a potential hacking that looks at the information embedded in this controversial picture. A third, but by no means final theory, has to do with the photo sharing service that I was talking about earlier, YFrog. It's not all that hard to generate a program that would try every possible combination using your Twitter name until you got the right email address to use this service to post pictures.
And there wasn't a hacking. Now, of course, there was also the time that Maddow theorized that Republicans may be pushing assassinations as an actual political tactic. Take a look.
Has enough kerosene been poured on the flames that the possibility of violence, even assassination, is being posited as a real political tactic in the United States?
And why not play the race card? Last year, Maddow asked if Donald Trump is, quote, a gateway drug to racism in the GOP. Let's look at this.
A lot of people who I think are critical of Donald Trump generally look at praise like that from somebody like Donald Duke and wonder if he is a gateway drug, if there is something beyond Donald Trump himself that means a much greater transformation of the Republican Party into something that is going to be new to mainstream politics.
So in the Destroy Trump media, what you just saw somehow passes for, quote, news. So I have to ask, hey, Tom Brokaw, are you proud of NBC News now? You know, I knew the late Tim Russert. He never behaved. He never reported things like this. For example, my former colleague, Megyn Kelly, moved over to NBC. Is she proud of this type of reporting? Megyn interviewed, for example, was a big deal, made a lot of news, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones last week. Should she now interview Maddow this week so she can be fair and balanced? What about Matt Lauer? Does he support this nonsense, these conspiracy theories that are being spewed? By the way, what about Andy Lack? He's the head of NBC. He okay with all this? Now, the only thing the Democrats, members of the Destroy Trump media, have left are these tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, as Rachel says, and they're using them to create distractions, to try and stop President Trump from what? Keeping his promises and his agenda, bringing him forward. And, of course, we're putting up on your screen right now the key points of the president's agenda. Now, Democrats and the media have proven they're willing to say and do anything to stop the president from enacting that agenda. Enough's enough. Here with reaction, editor-in-chief, LifeSet, Fox News contributor, nationally syndicated radio host, Laura Ingraham. What do you think
it's a very interesting pattern of gesticulation on the part of Rachel Maddow. I think we need like a body language expert in to just completely reveal what's really going on in her mind.
You know what the difference is?
God bless them.
We don't want to silence her. I said go for it.
I actually think she's kind of fun. I mean, if I were a liberal, Rachel Maddow would be all the rage. I mean, look, I think what we see in the country right now is that there are people on the far left who are frustrated with the Democrat Party because the Democrats are kind of caught in the middle of their own vortex. Some of the Democrats want to go far left. They want to go, income redistribution. They jack up the tax rates to 67%. And then there are the ones who are kind of struggling kind of a little bit in the middle, and they're in no man's land. Mm-hmm. They've tried all those ideas of globalization and big government programs, and they failed miserably. Obama had a phenomenal personality, Sean, and he was able to outdo McCain, who was a terrible candidate, and Mitt Romney, who campaigned with the 47% disaster comment. And he was able to win both times. But I submit, had a candidate like Donald Trump really caught fire in 2008 and 2012, Barack Obama would not have won the presidency and certainly would not have been reelected. But we didn't have that candidate.
Some headlines post yesterday, Georgia 6th District.
I love the faces today on MSNBC. Ashen.
And CNN.
Yeah, no, they were great. They were so upset.
Democrats now turning on Pelosi. Night. By the way, DNC fundraising in a free fall. You have Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut saying his constituents, they don't give, quote, his words, a damn about Russiagate.
Right.
And Joy Behar says Trump hating isn't working.
Well, what do they have? I mean, all they have is the resistance. And what we saw in Georgia and in South Carolina, even though I think those margins could have been bigger for the Republicans had they embraced Trump in a more profound way. I think Karen Handel should have campaigned with Trump and should have defied Congress. She should have said, I'm coming to town, and we're going to get 2 pieces of legislation on the president's desk, and he's going to sign those pieces of legislation. It's going to make the lives of the American people better. She kind of was playing a little bit cutesy with Trump. She had the behind closed door fundraiser. But she was a little scared by the Chamber of Commerce that came in with a lot of money and did help Karen Handel, no doubt about it. But she was a little scared. The Chamber was like, whoa, play it easy on Trump. I think this election shows us once again that Donald Trump is much more popular than the Congress today that's resisting still his agenda. He was in Iowa tonight. Phenomenal speech, which reminds us why we want him on the road. Rally the people against the intransigence of Congress in both the Democrat and the Republican Party, and that thing's going to set on fire. He can set this country on fire in a good way, in a very positive way.
Freedom Caucus members Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan are going to be here later tonight.
Good.
Now, what's great about them is they're saying, all right, stop with the vacations. Get your work done. Yeah. The Congress is not keeping up with the speed of Trump. They need to do their job. Stop with the 30-day vacations.
They do. I mean, the August recess is, that time has come and gone. I mean, it's one thing if we're at 4% economic growth and they're hitting it out of the park, but their approval rating, I think last time I checked, was about 18%. Trump's at about 36%. Trump's riding high. He's double where Congress is today. Oh. And Meadows, the guys of the Freedom Caucus, they're good guys. I agree with them on most issues, but we also have to face facts. They don't have the votes. They don't have the votes for a clean repeal of Obamacare.
They know that.
They know that. McConnell and Ryan have to go to Trump and say, this is what we can pass. We've done everything we can. We've turned over every rock. This is what we can pass. Can you sign it? Then Donald Trump's got to make a decision.
What about Rand Paul?
It's got to be brutally.
What about Mike Lee?
They all have to be in on it. But if they do nothing, they might as well just hang it up.
It's
hang
over.
up the shoes and,
I agree.
and let some real legislators come in and do it. Because 7 years later, we're all a little tired of this game. They're going to the think tanks and they're going to AEI and Heritage and giving lectures about, oh, how we're the master budget negotiators. No, you're not. Until you actually show the American people that you can get this House in order, you're not an expert at anything except hot air. We're all tired of that.
If they want to win in 2018, I think they need to follow. We already have Neil Gorsuch. That's a big win for.
We'll see. I hope he's good. I wasn't impressed with his first opinion, but we'll see about Neil Gorsuch.
We'll see. Okay,
he's
fair
a little
enough.
long-winded for my taste. He's trying to be Scalia. He's not Scalia. Neil Gorsuch, we'll see. I'm sorry. I trust but verify.
I know.
In Russian,
I'm
it's
with you.
doverai
Fair
ni proverai. That's what we say in Russian.
Yes, of course, we always talk Russian on the
Sorry,
program.
but it's a Russian conspiracy theory, and I got to stay
You're not
right
on
the
NBC.
message.
This is not Russia every 5 minutes.
I speak Russian, so I'm part of the conspiracy.
You really
Exactly.
When's the last time you've been there? They want to know.
A few years ago.
All right,
Just 7 times.
If they don't have 300 miles of the wall, if they don't have Obamacare repealed and replaced, if they don't have the tax cuts in place for the middle class, corporate America, repatriated money, and if they don't have energy independence, they're risking losing everything. True or false?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at that point, the Democrats go in for the kill. They have no agenda, but they can say, look, at least we were kind of like passing stuff. At least we were trying to pass stuff. We'll fix the stuff that we screwed up. These people are in the majority, and they can't get the ball across the finish line. They can't even punt it. I mean, they can't even punt it 40 yards. You know, no 2-point conversion. They got nothing. So they gotta start delivering for the American people. And they got some really good, dedicated public servants on Capitol Hill. Paul Ryan is a smart guy. Mitch McConnell is a master of all the minutia in the procedure. But he has got to stop with the criticizing Trump every time he gets. I'm sick of hearing what a great special prosecutor Bob Mueller is. I'm sick of hearing them all give cover to Bob Mueller. They should stand up and say, we'll see where this goes, but Bob Mueller, you know, last time I checked, he didn't turn water into wine at the Feast of Cana, okay? He's not Mr. Perfection, Bob Mueller, but they make him out to be like
I think
Mother
he's got
Teresa.
a nice edge tonight. I don't know.
See, when I'm in person with you, then I can go right.
Yeah, you go, of course. You want to.
My radio show's just about to start.
Yeah, that's
so
true. In a couple hours.
I'm going to go right in.
All right. Thanks.
See, that makes
Great
you
to
look
see.
Moderate, Hannity. You're like a smooth operator.
I'm called moderate and liberal a lot.
I'm going to get my tinfoil hat conspiracy
up next tonight
chart.
here on Hannity.
I've been watching, and they're saying President Trump has not produced health care. You've not been there for 5 months.
How long is this? All right, that was the president earlier tonight in Iowa. Kellyanne Conway will join us next in studio. Also, Jay Sekulow will join us later in the program. Should Mueller recuse himself from this entire investigation? That and much more tonight as Hannity continues live from Sin City, USA, Washington, D.C.